Before we get into today's edition of Just the Truth, Mike Lindell sent me a note yesterday. He has a special for the 6-piece towel set, $25 when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com, use promo code Joey. You'll get the $25 offer on the 6-piece towel set, and I promise you, these will be the most comfortable, the most absorbent towels that you own. mypillow.com, use promo code Joey, get the 6-piece towel set for just $25. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. As we kick off another week, welcome. President Donald Trump returned to Butler, Pennsylvania on Saturday to a huge crowd of patriots, saying that an attempted assassination is not going to stop his campaign to make America great again. Recovery from Hurricane Helene continued in the Carolinas over the weekend. We have some of the details and updates for you. FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell discussed recovery from Hurricane Helene across the Southeast and pushed back on what she called baseless claims about the agency's funding, calling them ridiculous. Ms. Criswell says many are putting politics ahead of people. We have that for you as well. Also over on CNN, Dana Bash tried to silence RNC Co-chair Lara Trump on the issue of FEMA using funds on illegals when it should be sent directly to the people in the Carolinas. Things got a little tense between the two ladies. Also, Hurricane Milton continues to gain strength in the Gulf of Mexico, posing a threat to Florida by the middle of the week, according to the National Hurricane Center. Today and into tomorrow, the system is forecast to move faster eastward or northeastward toward the central and eastern Gulf of Mexico, where additional strength is likely. The system is not expected to impact the upstate of South Carolina or western North Carolina.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
Former President Donald Trump made his return to Butler on Saturday, 3 months after his attempted assassination.
Exactly 12 weeks ago this evening on this very ground, a cold-blooded assassin aimed to silence me and to silence the greatest movement, MAGA, in the history of our country. MAGA. We love MAGA. For 16 harrowing seconds during the gunfire, time stopped as this vicious monster unleashed pure evil from his sniper's perch, not so far away. But by the hand of Providence and the grace of God, that villain did not succeed in his goal, did not come close. He did not stop our movement. He did not break out our spirit. He did not shake our unyielding resolve to save America from evils of poverty, hatred, and destruction. Yet we are here this evening in record numbers. This is a big crowd. This is a big one. This is a big one. Not only to mark the triumph of American spirit, but over, and you know that this is really, truly, in the truest sense, spirit over evil and adversity, but also to pay tribute to some of the best and bravest we have ever known. This field is now a monument to the valor of our first responders, to the resilience of our fellow citizens, and to the sacrifice of a loving and devoted father, a really great man. You know that. Forever afterward,
Of course, the crowd chanting Corey, a comparator who was killed. During his speech, Trump asked the crowd to join in a moment of silence at 6:11 on Saturday, which marked the exact time 12 weeks ago bullets began to fly in Butler, killing this volunteer firefighter who attended the rally. Trump said he was very respected in this town. Corey was an incredible husband and father, a devout Christian, veteran, and a proud father. He later went into detail about his policies and how they stack up against his opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, topics ranging from immigration to the economy to foreign relations. Many commented, though, that this was not the typical campaign where Trump spent most of his time critical of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, but more on a positive note. Trump did say that the Oval Office needs someone like himself, stronger at the helm. He said the people of America are our movement to make America great and stronger again, prouder, more united, more determined, and nearer to victory than ever before. Also surprising the crowd, Tesla CEO Elon Musk made a memorable appearance at the rally. Wearing a black Make America Great Again hat and a T-shirt reading Occupy Mars, Musk appeared on the stage shortly after Trump made his own remarks before this crowd estimated to be about 60,000. Introducing himself as the Dark MAGA, Musk spoke of the bravery Trump had to return to the campaign trail.
As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm Dark MAGA. Well, first of all, I want to say what an honor it is to be here. And, the true test of someone's character is how they behave under fire. And we had one president who couldn't climb a flight of stairs, and another who was fist pumping after getting shot. Fight, fight, fight! Blood coming down the face. Now, America is the home of the brave. And there's no truer test than courage under fire. So who do you want representing America? Yeah.
Musk explained he doesn't believe this is an ordinary election, saying the other side wants to take away your freedom of speech. Although Musk has become a very vocal Trump supporter, the speech in Pennsylvania over the weekend was actually the first time that he had stumped at a presidential rally with Trump. Musk previously confirmed that he would be at the rally on social media this week. He's considered one of the most influential people in the world. Also encouraged the audience to vote, vote, vote. Trump's speech, which opened with a roaring start by him thanking the people of Pennsylvania, making a light joke about the attempt on his life in July, saying, "And as I was saying." Wow, what a event it was. Conservatives over the weekend blasting Pennsylvania. One of the big things that is happening at these Trump rallies is voter registration drives. There's a number of groups, primarily GOP activist Scott Pressler, whose organization has been at every Trump rally out there, encouraging people and helping people, making it easy for them to register right there on the spot when it's possible. Conservatives blasted Pennsylvania's Department of State for scheduling a system maintenance update to its voter registration website the same day that Trump's rally was going to be in Butler. The operation would have taken the site offline for several hours during the same time frame that Trump's campaign expected to register votes. The department, however, after pushback, after protest, moved the window of time for the maintenance to later in the night. Scott Pressler posted, the Pennsylvania State Department voter registration website will be unavailable on Saturday, October the 5th, the day that President Trump will be triumphantly returning to the site of the assassination attempt in Butler County, Pennsylvania. With all eyes on Pennsylvania, the site will be down. Coincidence? ? Fox News reviewed archive data from the Pennsylvania voter registration website and found that it issued a disclaimer to voters that the website would be unavailable at this particular time, beginning at 6 p.m., right in the middle of the rally. The Pennsylvania voter registration website stated on October the 1st, an archive page reviewed by Fox saying this website will undergo scheduled system maintenance and will be unavailable. So I think the argument is, I think that what their explanation was, at the time, they didn't know that Trump was going to be having a rally there. I find it a bit suspect, but we'll take them at their word. They did change it, though. So that's the good news, is once people started pushing back, they moved the window back. But it was a bit suspect because think about this. So Trump announced on September the 25th that he would make this historic return to Butler on October the 5th. Then, if you look at, and this was the point that Fox News Digital wanted to make, fast forward, the Pennsylvania voter registration website announced its scheduled maintenance sometime between September the 30th, after Trump had made the announcement, and October the 1st, according to archive data. Republican National Committee co-chair Lara Trump and Scott Presler sounded the alarm on the scheduled maintenance earlier this month, questioning the timing and slamming the move as election interference. The Lara Trump, in her Facebook post, said, "Wow, they aren't even trying to hide their blatant interference. Appreciate you flagging, Scott Presler at GOP. Legal is on it and formally requesting the system maintenance is moved to a different time." Now, this is an example of this legal army that Lara Trump has put together with the Republican National Committee to respond to things just like this. And I think we're going to be ready to respond to similar things if they occur leading up to November the 5th. And this is the difference that we have. For people who are concerned about election shenanigans, I think this was an example of where Lara Trump's team made a difference after we were made aware and was able to intervene. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. PhD Weight Loss wants you to know, yes, you can. You can get back to your ideal healthy weight. Yes, you can get back into sizes you thought you'd never see again. And yes, you can get rid of that harmful belly fat, all without becoming dependent on medication loaded with side effects. Hi, it's Joey Hudson here. PhD Weight Loss encourages and equips you to lose weight the healthy, natural way and keep it all for the rest of your life. Dr. Ashley Lucas, a licensed registered nutritionist, developed a solid plan that works. Trust me, I lost 30 pounds. You see, PhD Weight Loss removes the guesswork. They literally tell you exactly what to eat each day while you watch the pounds melt away. But they also teach you to think about food differently and to learn to anticipate and navigate situations that make you want to indulge. PhD coaches will teach you to believe finally that yes, you can do it. With no gimmicks or lifelong medications, finally lose the weight and keep it off. Yes, you can. Call today. PhD Weight Loss, 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or go to myphdweightloss.com. We have more updates coming for you on the recovery in the Carolinas from Hurricane Helene, and an update on the weather as another front has formed in the Gulf as well, having people in Florida boarding up their homes, putting in the bags of sand, getting ready for what could be a horrific hit in that Tampa Bay, St. Pete area. So we have some updates on you with that as well. Of course, college football back on Saturday, that is. Clemson playing down in Florida, beating Florida State. And the University of South Carolina taking on Ole Miss at home. The Gamecocks didn't do so well, while the Clemson Tigers won their game. Clemson, of course, came under fire for playing their game last weekend before, the pretty much the day after Hurricane Helene came ashore. A lot of people were not quite in tune with Clemson playing that game, while others were sitting at home with no electricity. An interesting story over the weekend about just the unrest and the chaos on college campuses today, primarily because of political issues. We saw last year, back in the spring semester, a lot of the protests in New York City, at Columbia University, New York University, primarily centered around the U.S.'s support behind Israel. Of course, today marks the anniversary of that horrific attack from Hamas on Israel. And we say a prayer today. We remember those Israeli families who lost someone on this horrible, horrible day in world history. I'll be attending an event tonight, speaking to a group who will be gathering in downtown Greenville to do just that, to remember what happened on this day a year ago. And let me invite you to join us as we will have a powerful evening featuring Humans of October the 7th. This is a commemoration by renowned photographer Aries Kaganovitz. There are other speakers who will be there as well to honor the lives lost and to stand in solidarity with Israel. It is downtown Greenville starting at 6 o'clock at Zen. So I'd love to see you there tonight if you would love to show your support of Israel. But back to my discussion. So a lot of colleges, universities over this past year has seen demonstrations. High school seniors, we're told, are beginning to come south to universities like Clemson and Alabama and the University of South Carolina and Georgia over America's, some of their most prestigious colleges up in the north. This according to a column in the Wall Street Journal. Columnists Douglas Belkin and Andrea Fuller wrote, a growing number of high school seniors in the north are making an unexpected choice for college. They're heading to Clemson, Georgia Tech, South Carolina, Alabama, and other universities in the South. Belkin and Fuller wrote that although far more students applied to Ivy League schools than in the past 20 years, Clemson and Georgia have seen an even bigger spike in interest to these universities. The column explained further that these southern schools boast career opportunities and alluring Greek fraternity and sorority life and sports entertainment experience, especially those Saturday football games. Fox News did a story over the weekend talking with some of the students who are continue to demonstrate, to disrupt class at some of these schools. And if you take them at their word, it's not going to stop anytime soon.
Moment with reaction. First, though, to Fox News' Alexis McAdams outside that school's gates where some arrests have taken place. Alexis.
Hey, Charles. Yeah, another school year where things were supposed to change here at the Ivy League school at Columbia University on New York City's Upper West Side. But even though it's all starting brand new for these students, it's really the same situation here with more pro-Palestinian protests. And they tell me they're not going to stop anytime soon. I just wonder, do you think it's going to be a lot of protests again this year? I know last year, right, it was like a little bit, people thought it was disruptive, they were upset. What do you think is going to happen this year?
We have been very clear that this will not stop until Columbia has divested from its complicity in Israel's genocide of the Palestinian people.
So this afternoon, at least 2 protesters here were arrested, taken into custody by the NYPD. Red paint also was thrown all over a statue on campus symbolizing blood, so there's been issues with that on the quad. This is the first day. Now they're power washing to try and remove that red paint there. And according to the NYPD, there were at least 5,000 people who were walking the streets during the pro-Palestinian protests on Sunday afternoon. One protester was spotted carrying a Hamas flag, which we want to show here on your screen. Others also yelling out, "Long live Hamas." Is for the people that were screaming, long live Hamas or death to the Jews that are involved in these protests on this side. I heard that. But I'm just asking you, because that's not what everybody says, right?
I do support the Palestinian resistance against their own, ethnic cleansing.
So although that protest happened just hours after the death and the murder of 6 more Israeli hostages, including an American citizen, people weren't upset, I guess, that they were screaming things out like that or were carrying a Hamas flag. So we'll keep a close eye here on campus as they've added more security to try and stop anyone who's not a student from entering campus. Charles.
Hey, before I let you go, are you surprised because we went through this drama, to your point, last year, and it seemed to have fizzled out at the intensity that it's begun on day one?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit surprising, especially for students that had a chance. It's an Ivy League school. These kids, right, Charles, who applied to go here as freshmen could have pretty much gone to any school. And some of them had already applied and gotten in. But now that they saw how campus has already started with these protests, they're like, why did I choose to go here? Because I can't even get into my class. You have to take like 30 minutes to get inside to show your ID. So they're like, why am I going through a TSA checkpoint just to go to school? And why are there protests all over the place? So I think it's a shock for people.
Yeah. Great work, Alexis.
Can't blame them, can you? Some of the students who spoke on the record said that they're ready to trade the political polarization that they believe is responsible for ripping apart campuses in the Northeast for the sense of community epitomized by the South's football Saturdays. Fox News Digital reported on Emerson College being forced to lay off staff and making spending cuts due to the projected enrollment decline. The budget woes came after the college was overwhelmed with student protests amid the Gaza conflict. Wall Street Journal columnists Belkin and Fuller wrote that Southern universities blow career prospects after college, in addition to a more calmer, a more gentler college experience. Hey, come on down. We'll teach you what conservatism is all about. Get away from those liberal Northeastern schools. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. Continuing today's show, the U.S. Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA as we know it, released a rumor response page in response to some of the things being posted on social media about Hurricane Helene and the response. It has, of course, created a lot more talk on social media. In an update dated October 3rd, FEMA responded to statements issued online about the agency's response to our disaster, including whether it is running out of funding due to payments and efforts made to fly illegal immigrants into parts of the United States. The agency wrote on the post, quote, FEMA has enough money right now for immediate response and recovery needs. If you were affected by Helene, do not hesitate to apply for disaster assistance, as there is a variety of help available for different needs. Now, FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell discussed recovery from Hurricane Helene across the Southeast, and she pushed back on what she called baseless claims about the agency's funding, calling them ridiculous. Appearing on ABC this week with anchor George Stephanopoulos, Ms. Criswell says many are putting politics ahead of people. Asked about the impact of disinformation on recovery efforts, Criswell said it has a tremendous impact on the comfort level of FEMA employees in the field. Here's the exchange.
Let's start out with the recovery and rescue effort. Where do things stand right now?
Good morning, George. We are still actively supporting the governor in this search for individuals, but at the same time, we continue to move in critical commodities into the places that have been hard to reach. And our plan and what we're doing with them is to make sure that we can sustain that for as long as needed, as we know it's going to take time to repair the infrastructure and get access to all of the roads in the communities that either have limited access or no access at all. We've got thousands of responders on the ground right now, along with thousands of volunteers and the private sector working alongside our state partners, the National Guard, the first responders in the community, meeting the needs of the people on the ground.
Do you have all the resources you need?
Absolutely, George. We moved resources in before this storm happened. We embedded our staff in the state to work side by side so we could quickly employ those resources to where they were needed. And as we continue to see how long we're going to have to provide this level of sustained support, we will continue to do that.
Let's talk about some of the misinformation that is out there, including these claims from former President Trump that FEMA is about $1 billion short because money has been going to undocumented immigrants. Also, that the Republican areas of the state are being intentionally ignored in some fashion.
You know, it's frankly ridiculous and just plain false. This kind of rhetoric is not helpful to people. You know, it's really a shame that we're putting politics ahead of helping people, and that's what we're here to do. We've had the complete support of the state. We've had the local officials helping to push back on this dangerous, truly dangerous narrative that is creating this fear of trying to reach out and help us or to register for help. You know, people need resources and we need them to get into the system. And it's just, you know, a shame that people are sitting home on their comfortable couches while we have thousands of people here on the ground that have left their own families to be able to help those in need.
So much is going viral online as well. One user suggested yesterday that a militia should go against FEMA, got more than 500,000 views. What kind of impact has this had on the recovery effort?
It has a tremendous impact on the comfort level of our own employees to be able to go out there, but it's also demoralizing to all of the first responders that have been out there in their communities helping people, FEMA staff, volunteers, the private sector that are working side by side with local officials to go out and help people. I need to make sure I can get the resources to where they're needed. And when you have this dangerous rhetoric like you're hearing, it creates fear in our own employees. And we need to make sure we're getting help to the people who need it.
So what is the truth here? That's one story. And I looked at the site. If you'd like to see this response site that they set up, just text me or email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. I'll send you a link to it. And they take each of these rumors, as they call them, or the rumor response, and they talk about what they consider the fact to be. There's been a lot of speculation of what FEMA is doing and what FEMA is not doing. There was a story that was published over the weekend. There had been a widely circulated story on social media about FEMA threat or officials, not FEMA necessarily, but local officials by direction of FEMA, threatening to arrest a helicopter pilot who was trying to rescue some people in North Carolina. That story was published over the weekend by a couple of different news organizations that confirmed with the family involved. The story is that a husband and wife were trapped. A helicopter pilot from the Carolinas, from Anderson, I think it was able to go to the area, found out about this couple who had been in contact with some relatives. They flew in, found them, was able to pick up the lady, and because of the size of the helicopter, remember, a lot of these helicopters are privately owned, and they're like a two-person helicopter. So the guy left his son there, took the wife to a landing area, went and upon landing there, was told by officials that he would be arrested if he goes back and brings the husband. Now they have the wife there, and he's threatened with arrest if he goes to get the husband. So he made it very clear. He said, okay, I get that, but I'm going to get my son. I left my son back there. I'm going to go get him. So he goes and picks up his son, but he left the lady's husband there with the promise that they said they would be there to pick him up. Fortunately for the man, they did. Eventually, he was picked up. He was rescued. The helicopter pilot was called the very next day to come back and to do some additional work. And that's just how crazy things seem to be there. So that's one of the rumors that have been circulating. Turns out to be true, that this guy was threatened with arrest. Now, the other rumor over the weekend is that FEMA is actually preventing others from helping. There's a story out of the downtown Greenville, South Carolina airport. On X, a post from Wall Street Apes. The guy in the video appears to be Chadwick Buckland. The post says FEMA helicopters are blocking Greenville, South Carolina airport private citizens from flying aid to victims, and FEMA came and blocked the runway to stop them, saying that we're at the airport here. And he actually in the video shows you a line of what he describes as FEMA helicopters blocking a runway so that private individuals cannot take off on that runway. Here's the post. Here's the audio section of the post, and you can hear the guy make the description himself.
What's happening? We're at the airport again. Well, we're at the airport today. Yesterday, they ran like 30-something planes, a bunch of trips up to Western North Carolina, Asheville, that whole area, wherever they can land and drop off supplies. And FEMA has flown in like 10 or more helicopters and blocked a runway here at Greenville downtown. Completely took over, or almost took over the operation, just because they're doing some good here. FEMA's going to come here and try to stop it. And they took over one of the hangars over here too. We'll show you as much as we can. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, here's the helicopters that are blocking one of the runways here at Greenville downtown. all flown in by FEMA helicopter pilots. And they're just sitting there doing nothing. And you have Greenville Aviation over here taking in all kind of supplies, everything that people want to drop off. There's a huge operation going on over here. Yesterday we ran about 30-something planes, or they did, I didn't fly anything, but just putting stuff in planes, taking it up to Asheville and other areas, and they came in and halted. FEMA came in and halted all that operation. And there they are, just sitting over there, doing nothing. When there's thousands of pounds of supplies over there that could be taken, they're just sitting there doing nothing. And blocking the runway with however many helicopters.
Wow, that's pretty crazy, isn't it? If you want to watch the video, and let me encourage you to do so, find me on X. Just go to X, search for Joey Hudson, because you need to see this as people are saying, well, that's all false rumors. But well, this happened. I mean, I trust this guy, and I could see the video for myself. I saw a row of helicopters on this runway. So it's just kind of hard to know what to believe, right? Also yesterday, and it appears the mainstream media is in cahoots to try to keep things shut down as well. In another exchange, CNN's Dana Bash tried to shut down Lara Trump from claiming that money should be reallocated from going to illegals and being used in her home state of North Carolina. Here's the exchange between Lara Trump and Dana Bash.
I want to ask you about something that the former president said last night on that stage, specifically about Hurricane Helene in your home state of North Carolina. He said that FEMA is only offering $750 to Americans who have had their homes destroyed. That's not true. He's also echoing conspiracy theorists online who falsely claim that the administration is redirecting disaster money for undocumented immigrants. That's also not true. Why is he spreading misinformation in a crisis like that? And does that concern you about your fellow North Carolinians and how and whether they could actually get help?
I'm incredibly concerned in North Carolina. I hear every day from people on the ground there, and they are desperate for help. It is a dire situation there. I actually think we don't even know the extent yet of truly how bad it is there. And look, Kamala Harris did come out and say it's $750 per family right now. The idea that we've spent $650 million in fiscal year 24 on the migrant crisis that Kamala Harris was responsible for stopping, and by all accounts, she created by having an open door policy at our southern border,
but
is
Laura,
infuriating.
Laura, let me just stop you right there.
Of this country.
Let me just stop you right there, because I just want to not let this get out there. You are right that FEMA is giving $750, but that is a first step. It's for immediate needs. It's called the serious needs assistance.
Santa, and said that they are out of money in terms of their hurricane relief. We have another hurricane heading towards Florida right now.
What they have said is that there is money
right now. Why don't they have anything in order? Why is it that right now the citizens in Western North Carolina are screaming for help, and it's having to come from local citizens? People from my hometown of Wilmington are driving across the state 6 hours to go to the mountains and help people.
It is bad.
Where is our federal government? Why are they out of money?
It is bad there, but my question is about the misinformation, particularly the notion that they are moving money to migrants.
CNN just did not want Lara Trump to talk about the truth. Whether you're replacing a broken appliance or maybe you're just upgrading, you're totally remodeling the kitchen, when it's time to get those new appliances, when you're ready for them, you don't want to have to wait weeks or even months to get started using them, right? Well, that's not the case when you shop with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. With over 11,000 square feet and 1,500 appliances at any given time, you can buy today and use today quite often. I'm talking about shopping with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse in Pickens. It's worth the short drive over to Pickens. Jeff, Johnny, Kyle, the whole team over there, they'll take good care of you. They have an award-winning service department, expert installation, extended warranties, and at Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they treat you like family. You're more than just a credit card swipe to all the team over there. Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they're proud to offer Speed Queen, the only washer and dryers with manufacturer's warranties that cover parts and labor. You owe it to yourself, if you're looking for a new appliance, to head over to Pickens to Discounted Appliance Warehouse online at dawpickens.com, dawpickens.com. As we continue to hear various stories out of those states that have been affected by Hurricane Helene, and as we watch this newest hurricane that was named Milton headed towards Florida, some interesting stories, some horrific stories, and some stories of bravery of people coming together to help one another. And this is an interesting time because we're right in the middle of a very competitive presidential race, a very important presidential race. We talked earlier about voter registration and President Trump's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, and the fact that Pennsylvania officials were on the verge of closing down voter registration during Trump's rally at a very time, a busy time for voter registration. But boy, some of the stories of bravery that I've heard about, again, the people who have used their own helicopters and airplanes, people who have taken, I saw where a church group had taken their own four-wheelers, ATVs, and loaded them down with supplies and all, and just had driven up into the mountains, into areas where people could not get to. The images that we're seeing, particularly out of western North Carolina, are horrific. It's very obvious that things will not be normal in that area for a long, long time. When you see complete roads washed out, like sections of Interstate 40, I don't know how you rebuild that when the whole entire side of the mountain was just washed out. I'm sure engineers can come up with a way, but it's going to take a while. Same with I-26 and others. If you have been involved in that, and by the way, let me remind you to go to 989WORD.com, 989WORD.com, where we have a whole list of resources, storm-related resources for you, regardless of where you're listening. If you're listening on my radio show, or if you're listening to my podcast, and if you're listening on the radio show, remember, if you miss parts of today's show, you can always go back and listen on the podcast as well. Just the Truth. You can listen on the Odyssey app, or you can go to joeyhudson.com, subscribe there. And while you're there, also click on Connect with Joey and join my email list. And if you want to leave me a message, you can leave that on my Pillow message line. Just call 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. And always go to MyPillow.com and use promo code Joey to get the very best deal on all the MyPillow products. The standard MyPillow retails for $48.98. And boy, does Mike Lindell have a great offer for you. By the way, he's sending 50,000 pillows to the Carolinas. 50,000 pillows. That's why I like to support MyPillow. When you go to MyPillow.com or call 800-893-4058, right now, limited time, when you use promo code Joey, you're going to get that pillow for $14.98. Think about that. $49.98 versus $14.98. Which would you rather pay? Now's a great time to go ahead and start Christmas shopping. The only limit to this is you can only buy 10 at this price. So do it today, 800-893-4058, or go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Joey. Get the standard MyPillow for $14.98. Be sure and check out all the other deals Mike Lindell has for you, too. And again, let's support this company because he always responds to natural disasters, and he's sending 50,000 pillows to the Carolinas. So back to my story here. One of the things, I read this story, you just wouldn't think about this. The deadly flooding and all the things that have happened because of Hurricane Helene. Of course, that flooding disrupted the underground nest of stinging insects, causing them to swarm. And so workers, volunteers, residents in the area are reporting a lot of yellow jacket stings in particular. Bees and other insects, this has prompted the state health department to buy Benadryl and the injections, as aid groups are also work to acquire medications and get them out to the affected areas. Alicia Clark, Direct Relief's chief pharmacy officer, told the Associated Press that many of those seeking treatment for insect stings are electricians working to restore power lines and other outdoor workers, utility workers. She said, with every disaster, we get requests for EpiPens, but this one is definitely an outlier. The group told the AP that it sent more than 2,000 EpiPen injections to community health centers, clinics, and pharmacies across western North Carolina. Pharmacists in North Carolina are providing emergency refills for those already prescribed allergy medications and is allowing people to buy the injections such as the EpiPens without a prescription, according to the state health department. They said while most people are not allergic to stings from wasps, bees, and other insects, irritation and pain can be intense and stings can swell and remain painful for days. Some people, however, can have a severe allergic reaction, of course, which can lead to a very difficult breathing, swelling of the tongue and throat, and can be life-threatening. So you never know what to expect, do you? On our text line, Jennifer says, yeah, the power came back on a couple of hours ago. I started to acclimate turning on the light switch and faucet handles again. You do kind of get used to not doing that, don't you? Says, I think I was beginning to drift into some form of Stockholm syndrome or something, but no internet yet. If we can ever get settled here, we're going to go on Starlink. You know, I've heard a lot about Starlink since all this happened. I wasn't that familiar with Starlink, just vaguely aware, but a lot of people, and Starlink's been great. Literally airlifting their hardware to people in that area to get them access to the internet. Jennifer says, we're on Windstream, and it's just horrible, not to mention expensive. Most of our neighbors have Starlink now. As soon as we get internet again, I'll have a whole bunch of Just the Truth podcasts to catch up on, that's for sure. Yeah, you gotta catch up and go back to listen to podcasts that you've missed there, Jennifer. Jordan writes, we just got our power back on in little old Joanna, South Carolina. I want to thank our linemen working around the clock. I also want to thank every blue-collar man and woman working to help everyone in our state. We are South Carolina strong. God bless South Carolina and God bless America. Sometimes it takes disaster to see people's true colors, and here lately those colors have been red, white, and blue. And, you know, he's right. I've seen that too. And if you're out and about and you see some of these linemen, some of these utility workers, some of the first responders, buy them a cup of coffee, buy them lunch, let them know that they are appreciated for sure. Email from Brian says, I was pondering about voter ID laws due to my suspicions about the upcoming election allowing illegals to vote and came across two websites that immediately pop up that are very liberal, League of Women Voters and indivisible.org, both of which indicate how voter ID laws are no good and only suppress voters. So I took it upon myself to write both of them as follows. And Brian included his email. It goes, the barriers you mentioned are, well, I can't say that, full of you know what. Lots of word salad being used to attempt proving of a point suggests that it's harder to prove than it is to disprove it. In all states, a form of identification is needed to obtain government assistance. If these people you speak of are so bad off, I assume they're receiving such benefits. If they can provide ID for that, then they can provide ID to vote. Why don't you spend some time doing some data collection on something of actual importance to cross-reference and show a different perspective? Required voter ID does nothing to suppress voters of any color. You're so right, Brian. Appreciate your email. And look, we all need to do that. We all need to just take a few minutes and do what Brian did and challenge some of these organizations who are saying that voter ID is bad, that voter ID is suppressing the vote. He's right. People who want government services, who want a free handout, they can come up with a government ID. They have no problem coming up with a government ID. And he's also right that these quite often are the same people that these organizations serve. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined our mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Just click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, find me on YouTube. Be sure and like, subscribe, follow me on my YouTube channel. Just search for Joey Hudson. Appreciate you spending a few minutes of your day with me. Be sure and forward this edition of Just the Truth to some friends. Just click on the share button. Send it to a few of your contacts, because if we're going to build our community and if we're going to win in November, we got to build an army of conservatives. The way we beat Joe Biden is through educating people, and no better way than encouraging them to listen to Just the Truth. Hey, keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Your emails always welcome as well. Joey@joeyhudson.com. Don't forget to take advantage of the MyPillow special, $25 for the My Towels 6-piece towel set when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. We're back again tomorrow. Hope you will be too. Remember, God's got this. He's still in control.